cried on the internet many times about how blessed I am with the support that I've received from my family. And I appreciate you because you have championed excellence in everything. And because of that, it makes me want to work hard, even in this, and be the wife and give you what you deserve, and, you know, being present. And I right now, I'm going through a guilt stage because I feel so guilty for letting myself get so far and not being able to care for them and be able to be there for them like I should have. And they're always just like the face he's making, they're always like, stop saying that and stop apologizing. But I feel so guilty. And I think that's why I'm always overboard, like, let's do this, come on, let's go, you know, because I feel so horrible. But my family is so gracious and forgiving, and they're so supportive. I really am blessed, you know. I am blessed to be a Kemp, and I'm thankful. So thank you for giving me that opportunity.
Other tidbit I throw in for all of the husbands out there whose wives are considering this surgery is make sure in the months leading up to it that they don't buy any clothes.
Oh, yeah.
Stop, like, just no buying, no clothes, no shoes, because she was buying clothes and doing stuff and living her normal life up until, you know, surgery. Like, literally, Amazon boxes were standing at the front door when we came home from surgery. And
part
then,
of me felt like it wasn't going to work, and I wasn't going to be successful. That's why.
Hold up, this is insurance.
You're right.
So then she starts losing. She lost over 100 pounds. Let's say clothes don't fit no more. So then here we are trucking back to Lane Bryant and Torrid, you know, like, and knocking out some more stuff. And, like, you know, it's just the one thing that I would say, like, if I could give myself an advice, like, look, I could care less about the investment we've made into our health. I love giving my wife anything and everything that she desires. I feel like she deserves even more than I could provide, so I never would tell her no. But at the same time, to be financially prudent or have a fiduciary duty to myself, I would tell myself, hey, stop buying clothes until after the surgery, because she, you know, or, you know, she had stuff that she threw away or gave away because she was like, I'll never get back into this out of her frustration.
So many cute things.
And then now she's like buying the same jeans. I'm like, well, you had to. Oh, I gave all this away. Bruh. Like, what do you mean? Like, you know, she's been, and in her own confession, she's been planning this surgery for a year or two. Yeah. So then she knew that this was happening. And then here we are. She's like, nah, I just gave it away out of frustration. Right. But, you know, at the end of the day, whatever. It's not that big of a deal. But I would just say, like, I knew I wanted to make sure I supported her in all the ways that I can. So that's the one thing that I knew that I'm not going to go back and be like, well, I can't change any of that stuff because I felt like I did it pretty good. Even when I cheated, I didn't cheat in front of her.
Even when I cheated, I didn't cheat in front of him.
What did you eat?
I had a Dorito, now I don't like Cool Ranch Doritos, but I had me one. Oh, it was so good. And he had a Snickers bar in his drawer, and I went in his drawer and I took his Snickers bar 2 nights before surgery and I ate it.
2 nights before surgery?
Yeah. I was drinking enough liquid where it was going to come out, but...
Wait a minute, because if that wouldn't have happened, I would have got the surgery canceled and my body would have been gone.
No, I made sure, they always say act right at least 48 hours before.
Wow. Okay.
And then he was looking for the Snickers, and he accused the kids of taking.
I thought the kids really did.
And I didn't say anything, and they all got in trouble.
That is so messed up.
They all got in trouble. I didn't say a word. Look,
I'm driving. I'm going in. I'm sticking to it. For
no, you didn't. You had a whole sandwich.
I stopped and got egg drop soup just so I was like, I can get this egg drop soup because I go into the buffet. You know how hungry I was? I was 3 or 4 days into it. walked into the Chinese buffet and like, man.
Look, it was worth it to have that Dorito, and it was worth it to eat that Snickers bar. Just act right at least 48 hours before. If you're having 48 hours before you have your endoscopy, whatever it's called, where they do that.
Endoscopy.
Yeah, act right, because then they have to go into your stomach. Then if they see something in your stomach, because mine was the day before surgery,
they'd be like, "Ma'am, is that chocolate and caramel and nougat?"
That's why you have to stay on top of your water. If you don't have something, just have just one, okay? Just one thing. And I had the one thing, okay? And I had the one chip. Mm-hmm. And I don't like Cool Ranch Doritos. And even now, the smell of Cool Ranch Doritos makes me want to vomit. But and even regular Doritos. But I was like, I'm just going to eat this Dorito. And it was so good. But I didn't have no soda or nothing like that.
But she's been doing her thing, and it's not just even about the eating. She's been working out. She works out. She's bought tons of different things, and she sticks to it. She's been walking, hitting her miles, doing her stuff. Even when, and it kind of, it makes you look bad when you get up. The thing is, she just always does it. She knows when she does it, it irritates the mess out of me. I'll get up and start like working. I'm sitting in front of my desk, and then all of a sudden she's like, "Oh, I'm gonna go work out." I'll go walk. I'm like, "Bro, like we could have did this before, like now." Or I'll take a shower and get ready to go to bed, and she's like midnight. She's up there, in our room, like working it out with the kettlebells, and I'm like, "Yo, I'll do it with you." And she's like, "Well, you can come on." I'm like, "I just took a shower." I'm like, "Well, no, I'm trying to go to bed." And she's just like, "Oh, well, it motivates me." So the next day, I'm like, "Okay, I'm gonna show her," and then I'll go out and do something, or we'll work out with the boys, or we'll do something. So like, it's just fun. It's a friendly competition. It's different things. Like I think it's 100% the best money that I've ever spent. I think it's your family supported us. My family supported us. Like there was people like our parents, was supporting and just genuinely, our mother and father both came and stepped up to the plate. Our father came, and helped out in a million different ways, and one of them being watching the kids while we were, at the surgery. So it's just a lot of different things that people stepped up, and friends and family members and stuff. Supported her. I didn't even know she was going to tell people that she had surgery, because this is one of those things that's kind of the community, and she, like, I didn't know there was a community, and she started researching it, and she's part of all these different groups and showing me all this different stuff, and I was like, wow. But the community is kind of torn on it. Like half people speak freely on it, the other half is like, well, that's my personal business and I don't have to say anything. Mm-hmm. I don't care either way. I didn't know how she was gonna, because we never discussed it, if she was gonna tell people. And I know she was telling people her inner close circle, but I didn't know how much she was gonna tell and discuss and disclose with people. And we're sitting in the waiting room to get ready to send her back, and all of a sudden a video goes live, and it's like, "Yep, I'm having surgery today." And I'm looking at my phone and looking at her and looking at her. I didn't even tell
family, and even the friends. I told them I was gonna have surgery. I didn't tell them when, and so when I sent that link and made that YouTube video, everybody was like, "Yo, today? Like you said you were having? I didn't know when." Yeah, today. It's today, and I'm already home.
So I give her, and the reason why the community is torn on it, and a lot of people don't speak on it, is because we've known people that had surgery and stuff, and it just hadn't been super successful. Did they lose a little weight? Absolutely, but then you just can't really see a ton of progress. And some people haven't lost 100 pounds. She lost 100 pounds in like 2 or 3 months.
It's hard.
And it's hard.
And then
it's
people
a
feel
tool,
like you didn't,
and then
you were cheating, and it's a lot.
So it's not even that. It's just people have not been successful. So people, and the thing is, and she deals in battles with this. So like, let me be 100% clear, because it's my wife, and I'll protect her till the day the world stops spinning. She hates it when you haven't seen her in a couple of months. The first thing you do, instead of looking at her like me speak, and you're looking up and down, like trying to see and examine her body and see if you could see the difference in weight and stuff. Like, look, man, if you can tell, you can definitely, it's 100 pounds, you can definitely tell. Like, I'm looking at her day to day, and I can see, okay, little things here and there, but that's my job. I'm a husband. I'm the only one that should be looking her up and down like that.
You're looking
like,
me up and down.
I've been looking at you up and down, left and right. So, backwards, forwards, any way that you can look at you, I've been looking at you. But that's just be cognizant of that. Like, no matter just her or anybody, they've had weight loss surgery. The first thing you walk to them, how much weight you lost? Like, man, that's so rude. And that's you don't know, because it's still a battle, and she still battles. And she still battles. That's still a thing. And she's had years, 30-something years of just battling her weight and having mental anguish because of that. That doesn't just magically disappear with the surgery. Like, they didn't take that out when they took half your stomach out. Like, that, they didn't say, okay, well, let me cut this part of the stomach because this part has all their emotional baggage from overeating. Like, that's not how it happens. So, still be cognizant and recognize, man, don't just walk up to people, but how much weight you lost? I see you've been doing. You can say, man, you look good. You look fantastic. That's positive. But when you're asking, because what happens when she's lost 105 or 6 pounds, 110 pounds, whatever, what happens when it's been 2 weeks and she's still on 111 pounds instead of 110? Well, you ask her and you've seen her in 2-3 weeks, how much weight have you lost now? And it's been 3 pounds, and she feels frustrated because she's only lost 3 pounds in 3 or 4 weeks, which is normal. So you're gonna have little ups and downs and spurts, but then now she feels bad because you're asking her something, expecting a big huge number, and when she tells you 3 pounds, you're like, oh, that's it? Man, just be cognizant of that. Be aware, understand. Because now I've said that everybody says it, understand. If you're in a circle, I know you see this video, and you better keep all this in, and you do something like that. It would
be a two-parter.
We're gonna have a problem. I'm gonna have a problem with how you handle my wife. Just be careful and cognizant of how you handle her. That's the reason why people don't say anything, because they don't want that pressure. But she steps out there because she stands and she's very transparent. And not only does she hold herself accountable to a higher standard, that puts our Kemp name and everybody around us into a higher standard, but she's comfortable doing that because she lives transparently and throughout all of her life.
We are the same, but in front of people, behind closed doors, always.
Be careful how you handle my wife, and be careful how you handle anybody that's had surgery. Be careful, period. It's not cool to talk about people still. You don't talk about people. You'll never walk up to somebody that's physically handicapped and be like, oh, you haven't grown an arm yet. So why is it okay for you to walk up to somebody about weight? There's still something that it's a medical condition that they're battling. You still got heart problems. How's that COPD handling? Bro, you kidding me?
I'm grateful. It's been very few and far between. Every once in a while, somebody will say something weird or crazy. But it's been few and far between. But anytime, my family is like, what? Who said? They said what? Even my kid. Oh my goodness, especially the teenager. He's like, what? Who said what to you? So, yeah, I'm always leery. I always tell them way later. I don't want anybody to say anything, but yeah, just be careful. Even when I posted the video where I did a food review for a local catering company. Somebody was like, well, the food looks good, but just watch yourself. And that I was just really taken aback by that, because I have to eat. And I've learned how to adjust my food, as nourishment and not as my mechanism of comfort, and just keeping that in mind. So be gentle. Be gentle. I even did a whole thing about on Instagram. I was like, come on, guys. I'm sharing my story. I don't have to, but I do it because
it's encouragement. It's your testimony. You're trying to do what you feel comfortable doing, because God puts certain people in certain positions to go through certain things in order to share with other people, to give them encouragement. And you don't know her inbox. You don't see her text messages. You don't see her messengers and emails. People are genuinely applauding her transparency, and they're asking her questions. They're feeling motivated. They're getting behind her. This is a whole movement that she started. And it's not a movement that's for her only. It's just she's pushing forth this wave of good health, and she's the the spokesperson and up front with it. That just means she's going to take rocks and sticks and stones. But man, don't let me catch you throwing a rock. That's it. Because it shouldn't be that way. But just, man, be careful with anybody for any reason, anything that they're working on and trying to get better on. Like, man, you wouldn't walk up to somebody after they had a job and lost their job and, like, you know, was on the brink of being homeless. They just got another job back. Like, oh man, you pay off all those bills yet? Did you get your car out of, you know, did you get your title back from the title company loan? Did you get your VCR out of Hawk? Like, what, big bro? What are you doing? You know, like, that doesn't make any sense. Nobody would do that because they'd be like, man, but when people feel comfortable in doing some of those things, and you just understand where this comes from. Be conscious, be careful, because that's what keeps people from doing stuff, and that's what keeps people from being upfront and honest. That's what keeps people from telling you what they're going through, and that hinders other people from being able to go down this road because they're not sure if they can handle the pressure because they see how you get treated.
Yeah.
Like, that's
and I'm grateful. Like I said, it's few and far between with people saying things in person or on the internet, but when it happens, it obviously it's gonna sting. But I'm very grateful that I don't have a naysayer in my camp. And then I find out later sometimes people have said stuff and they won't even tell me. They'd be like, yeah, somebody tried to say something, but I shut that down. And I'm like, well, who said it? They won't even be like, oh, don't even worry about it. I took care of it. You know, like, I'm grateful to have those kind of people around me that love me enough to where I don't ever have to even say anything because they're like, I took care of it already.
Boom.
So yeah, I'm grateful. I've had a lot of support and I feel very loved and appreciated and just encouraged. So I hope that what we share, and you know, with his perspective, a spouse's perspective on the weight loss surgery, encourages you guys, because I think the transition works better when everybody transitions. And I'm glad that they did it. And I think the way that you transition them too, like I said, I didn't come in and just start hacking things away. I slowly moved and transformed some things different, a different direction. And it's made a positive impact, on everybody. So yeah, again, thank you for your input and, for threatening everybody on the internet.
Forever and always.
Thank you for loving me and making me feel beautiful every size. He's always made me feel beautiful, and I'm grateful for that. So I love you, babe. You're the best. All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for tuning in to the second part of this. Will have to be a two-parter because it's like 30 minutes. So I hope that you enjoyed both segments of this, and we will see you guys in the next video.